Hey everyone. Once again, if you've been watching a lot, I'm Dave Mathis, and I'm the host of Lessons for Life. We are really glad tonight you joined me and this young lady, Melissa Barnes. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Dave. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your service.
Well, thanks. Today is Veterans Day. Actually, we're recording this, and she's thanking me for my service, which resulted in 6 months in the reserves. And I'm glad to be in this country. So I
Mhm.
appreciate you saying thanks for this service. Now, tonight, we got kind of an amazing story. And Melissa's going to tell it to us, but all our shows are devoted to real people who have real problems and a real mission afterwards. And you have that, don't you, tonight, Melissa?
Yes, I do.
I bet you hope that at least one person out here listens to your story and it changes their lives, right?
Yes, I do.
So let's just start and kick it off in this real story from a real person. Let's start by, well, I know where we would start where we always start with your favorite Bible verse and why you like it.
Okay. It's 1 John 5:14 and 15. And this is the confidence that we have in him. If we ask anything according to his will, we know that he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, we have the things we petition of him.
Why does that mean something to you?
Because I have prayed to God and he has answered my prayers. I have believed his word is true and he's come through every time.
Now, I want people to hear that verse because it's going to make more sense when we go through it. Could you repeat that slowly so everybody catches the words?
Yes. And this is the confidence that we have in him. If we ask anything according to his will, we know that he hears us. And if we know that he hears us, we have the petitions we asked of him.
Does that describe your life?
Absolutely.
So you've had times in your life where you needed help from God and you prayed to him or talked to him and you know he's heard you, correct?
Yes, again, every time.
Now, Melissa's a very nice looking woman. You'd think by looking at her, she wouldn't have a problem in the world. But let's start where your problems began. Describe the home you grew up in.
I grew up in an abusive home. I was emotionally abused, physically abused, mentally abused, sexually abused from the age of 3 to 15. Um, Very hard, very sad life.
So you grew up as a kid from what time to what time?
Well, I was sexually abused from the age of 3 to 15 by 11 different men.
So 12 years,
Hmm.
11 men. Was this all at home?
No, it wasn't. It was the home and other places too.
How did it happen at other places? Were you shipped out to do this or what happened?
No, it wasn't anything like trafficking, of just, hanging out with friends of the family, and they took advantage of me while I was there.
So here you are from 3 to 15, being physically and mentally abused. Did that affect your schoolwork and things like that?
Actually, I did very well in school. My sister did not. I think it affected her in a different way than it did me.
Now, your sister was older. My
18
understanding
months.
is, pardon?
18 months older, yes.
She took care of you or protected you at home? Is that what she was doing?
She tried to.
Was she abused too?
Yes, she was. She took her life at the age of 31 because she couldn't deal with the depression and post-traumatic stress.
Now let's talk about help that you had. Besides your sister, did anybody help you at all?
No.
Were authorities called?
Yes, they found out 3 different times. But back then, sexual abuse wasn't a big deal. They just said, go take some classes and sent me back home.
So did they if your parents were abusing you, did they send them to classes too?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they went to the classes. Yes.
Did they work?
No. No. And then um, my mom said, don't tell them you're afraid to come home or you never see me again. At that point in my life, I was 9, and I didn't know that this didn't happen in every home. So when they asked me if I was afraid to go home, I said no.
Hmm. I'm letting this digest in my mind too. And I just pause so people that are can listening can realize what this little kid that they're seeing now, Melissa, that she was abused and lived with this for 12 years. That's tough, isn't it? How did you finally get out of that house?
I got married when I was 17.
When you got married, was that some of the reason of why that you got married instead of love and the way people do it? You just
I
it was
think
a
looking
mix,
back I think looking back now, I can say that probably was part of the reason to get out of the home life that I had.
but you didn't know it then.
No, not really.
Are you still married to the same man?
No, we were married for 26 years.
Wow, that's a long time. Now, my
Mhm.
understanding that the next thing, by the way, were these 26 years fairly happy years?
Um, they were up and down. Um, I put everything into mothering, and homeschooling and that sort of stuff.
So you had kids?
Yes,
How
I have
many?
6 children.
So you had 6 kids and you're living in your house. Now, my understanding is this is where it got worse again, that you probably were praying for your marriage, all these other kind of your children, then you got sick. Describe to
Yeah.
me what you had. What did you have?
I had found out that I had Huntington's disease.
Now, is Huntington's disease, you just take a pill and get cured?
No, there is no treatment and there is no cure. It affects 3 parts of your brain, the part that um, controls muscle movement, and the part that controls cognitive function, and the part that controls mood.
Now, on the screen, I don't know if you can see it real well,
Yes,
there's a chart of what you go through, and
yes.
there is no way to heal it.
No, no, there's nothing that they can do.
Now, if you reach the late stage, I'm just saying this, and you can answer this if you will. It's certain death. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no treatment, there's no cure. Nothing, doctors can't do anything but just try to make you comfortable.
So our audience understands. Let's go through these 3 stages, and you tell me where exactly you were. And I don't know how long it took to get there, but you can probably add that too. Early stage. It says on my chart, you lose balance. Has you lost balance?
Yes,
It says you lack coordination. Were you losing coordination?
yes, sir.
Did you fall?
Yes.
Then there's trouble swallowing. Were you having trouble swallowing?
Yeah, I had to have my throat stretched.
What do you mean by stretched?
Well, it can cause any kind of muscle problems anywhere in your body. And so they had to go in and stretch my throat because I could only swallow very, very small things.
Okay, and the last thing is involuntary movements. Were you having those? Like,
Yes.
were they embarrassing sometime?
Yeah, especially if I got stressed or if I was in a lot of pain, it would really be more severe.
So you're going to be past, well, the early stage also has depression. Were you depressed?
Oh, yeah.
You taking medication for it?
Yes.
How about difficulty reasoning? Would you have trouble reasoning?
Yes.
Mood changes.
Yes.
So you get angry around the house sometimes?
Yeah.
Okay. Irritability. Did you have that?
Yes, I did.
Because in the middle stage looks like, let's see how far you are there. Did you have shakes?
Sometimes.
Difficulty excuse me. More difficulty performing normal activities?
Yes, I lost a lot of functions that I could do.
Did you have trouble over movements? Further loss of those?
Yes.
And was your speech slurred?
Yeah, because I would forget my words a lot, and so it was really hard to talk, and it would be really hard to go in public because I would be embarrassed because I couldn't find the word that I wanted to say.
Okay, now looking at the late stage, did you have any of those?
No, just struggles with sleep and chewing and eating.
You know, I want people to sort of digest this. It looks to me, and I hate to say this word, but you're in a position where you were looking at death. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. There's nothing they can do.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about God. You said you accepted him at 9 years old.
Yes.
Okay, now you've been walking with him for I don't know how many years, from 9 to when you hit this late stage, but it
Hmm.
looks like to me probably a quarter of a century.
Yeah.
So let's talk just a minute about if you had no help from anybody, your parents weren't helping you at the time, were they?
Um, Off and on, we had a relationship off and on during that time.
Now, your husband, was he understanding?
Um, Sometimes yes, and sometimes no.
Now, my understanding is something else upset your life with living arrangements and kids. Go ahead.
Yeah, he decided that the Huntington's symptoms was so stressful and my daughter's autism symptoms were so stressful that we needed to live elsewhere. And so we had to move into the projects, the public housing.
Did you have money for that?
No, the government paid for it. But it was a really hard place to be, very violent, and it was tough.
So you were there alone?
Me and my youngest daughter.
Wow. Did you have any help from any other people on the outside?
No,
So who did you turn to that gave you help?
God.
Hard to do. Did you ever get discouraged with God?
Yeah.
One thing after
Well,
another being poured on you.
yeah, it was really hard sometimes, trying to figure it out. It was really hard.
So did you have a personal friend that you talked to?
Yeah, I had friends along the way that I could talk to that helped me, that kept me from doing something dumb.
Like suicide?
Yeah, people with Huntington's disease are 7 times more likely to commit suicide because of the hopelessness of the disease, as well as it is eating the part of your brain that controls movement or mood. And so that can also cause it.
What did God do?
God healed me. I got a couple of healing books and I read those. I believed them. And for a year and a half, all I did was speak healing scriptures over my body. I read the books over and over. I consumed his word like it was meat. And my symptoms started getting better and better and better. I wasn't able to work for 15 years because of the disease. And now I can do anything in the world that I want to. Every symptom God has healed.
Okay, that's all healed. And
Hmm.
did doctors did they believe this? I understand that a little knowledge about Huntington's disease that the end result is always death.
Yes.
There's no
It
cure.
is. No, there isn't.
Were you che-
Yeah, go ahead.
were you checking in with a doctor at the time?
Oh, yeah, I had a lot of doctors.
So how did you know you were healed?
Well, I had been going to the University of Iowa since 2005 for research studies, trying to find a cure. And last year when I went, you have to take hours worth of tests. And I took the first test and I told the lady, I feel like I did better on this test. And she just kind of looked at me funny and she looked back from the previous year and she said, You did significantly better on this test. And I was like, Okay, I'm seeing what I thought I was seeing. Then I got done with all the testing and she said, I'm just curious. And she looked back and she said, Melissa, you did significantly better on every test. And I said, Wait a minute, is this a fluke or something? Does this ever happen? And she said, Of course, it never happens. It's a degenerative brain disease, and nobody ever does better on the tests. And so I just reiterated to her that I just spoke God's healing word over my brain and my body for the last year and a half and how he had taken all the symptoms away. And she said, Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Now I'm done with part one. I want to talk about how your life is different now after you went through all those years of pain. But before I leave that, I want you to respond to this. I've had a lot of people in the ministry they've accepted Christ, they pray for healing, and when God doesn't heal them right away, maybe as a mother or a father, or maybe they die,
Mhm.
to say, I don't want any part of this religion because I asked to have my mother or father healed and they didn't do it. You got any answer for them? Because you've gone through it and had the same opportunity to reject God a lot of times in your life.
Well, I had sought God for healing at times before, but then I really realized that you have to immerse yourself in God's word concerning whatever you're going through in your life, whether it's healing, anxiety. You have to take those scriptures and speak them until they become life to your flesh and to your bones. It's not just a, quick, well, I know God heals and heal me. It really is about knowing his word and believing that it's true for you.
I think one thing that we can say, both of us can, is that if you're becoming a Christian just for immediate healing, you're wrong. Like now,
Hmm.
I'm older, you're older.
Hmm.
I was healed from polio when I was a kid. I died and was brought back to life.
Wow.
A lot of
That's
prayer that
great.
brought me back. And you had the same thing with your life, a lot
Hmm.
of prayer, but maybe the next time you're not going to make it
Hmm.
because we're all going to leave this earth and go to the other one is.
Yep.
The problem is that we have to trust God.
Hmm.
There's something waiting for us at the end of this life. We call
Yes.
it glory land. Do you call it
Mhm.
that?
I just call it heaven.
Okay, now I'm ready to go to the next phase.
Okay.
Your first marriage didn't work out.
No,
God didn't stop there.
no.
He presented another person to you, and you can tell us how you met. Go ahead.
Well, I was hanging out with a friend and she had somebody come doing some work for her and she introduced me to her dad. And we met and from then on we were together. Now we've been married almost 3 years.
Mm, that's your husband there, right?
Yes, it is.
Your hair is different. I didn't recognize you right
Yeah,
away.
it is.
Now the other one, oh, that is that the wedding?
Yes.
And who's with you there?
That's my daughter, Sunshine. She's my youngest.
Oh, that's your daughter?
Yes.
Okay, she's the youngest of 5, 6,
6.
right?
Yeah. The youngest of 6.
See, I do listen. I do
Yep.
listen. That's excellent. That's very excellent. So that's coming out of what you went through. There's a man that understands you. Am I saying it right?
Yeah. God gives us beauty for ashes.
And so you have your own child with him?
No, I had my daughter before we got together. She
Okay,
was the
and
one that had autism when she was little. She doesn't have it anymore.
he uplifts you all the time?
Hmm.
I understand he realized you were going to be on national TV, and he did what today?
He messaged me and encouraged me and told me that me and God's got this and it's going to be good.
So he's a Christian.
Hmm.
So God had you meet another gentleman who is now your husband for how many years?
Almost 3.
So you're going to be celebrating your third anniversary when?
December 4th.
Okay, December. Oh, it's coming up.
Yep.
I owe you a present, looks like. I'll have to get a buy
Yeah.
a card. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about how all of a sudden you become a major TV star.
I wouldn't say that.
Now, this is the I Am Josiah.
Yes.
We've been looking at TV series because we
Hmm.
believe in it. Well, it's still in production. It's not even on the air yet.
Hmm.
Talking to cast members. In fact, this is your second appearance, isn't it?
Yes.
We just met you on a little big net last time, and we heard your story, and we wanted to have you on separately to tell people because it seems like the whole cast is made up of people that have stories similar to yours. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. It's amazing.
So how did you get involved in I Am Josiah? Was there tryouts or what happened?
Well, I was at work. I hadn't been able to work for 15 years, but I had gotten a job. I'd been working about a year. And Josiah was in Jonesboro at a cafe, and he came out of the cafe, and God said, walk across the street. Now stop and take a picture of this. Now go to the corner, turn around. And he saw me and 2 other ladies decorating for the 4th of July on the balcony, and he was telling us we were doing a great job, and we thanked him. And he said, "Are y'all open?" And I said, "Would you like to come in for a tour?" And he said, "Sure." So I brought him in, and the conversation just, I started sharing with him how God had healed me from Huntington's. And he said, "Do you realize that I help people share their testimony on TV and radio?" And I said, "No, but I knew that God had healed me so that it could touch other people's lives and they would see his love and his goodness and realize that he wanted to touch them and heal them too." And so then he asked me if I wanted to be in his TV series. And I said, "I'm not an actress." And he said, "Well, we're not looking for actresses. We're looking for who we feel like God has led us to." And I said, "Okay." And I've been on board ever since.
And the man's name is
G.W. Tully.
G.W. Tully, and he's an author,
Hmm.
now doing a screenplay, and he's led by the Lord.
Yes.
And if you totally see this program long enough, you'll learn that this is how he got his cast.
Hmm.
You're playing, maybe you don't know for sure, the sister.
Yeah, possibly.
That's not decided, but they're already starting. They got the sets made and everything else. They got
Hmm.
cameras. But the amazing thing is, it's all volunteer. First, how much are you getting paid?
0, 0, and 0, 0. But it's all for God's glory. God's done so much for me. I just want to tell people how good he is.
So they're all volunteer cast members.
Yes.
They've got leads on how to get this on the air.
Hmm.
We were so taken by stories like this that we decided that we were going to feature the people that are in the cast and talk to them about how they got involved with I Am Josiah. But on top of that, just on how they got on I Am Josiah, but their stories. We found out that there's lots of people that have
Hmm.
lots of stories. And you're our third one we've done. And
Hmm.
go back and look at our YouTube
Yeah.
channel and you can see them all.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Now you're involved. Now let me ask you another question, because a lot of people think since we're a major production and you've got such a professional host here that he must be paid a lot, and we had to do you have a contract with you, and we're paying you millions of dollars because you're a big star. How much money are you getting?
Y'all are paying me double what I Am Josiah Project is paying.
0 times 0
Yeah.
is 0. And since I'm the host, I'm getting 4 times that much.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's interesting, isn't it?
Hmm.
Now, we're enjoying talking to you, and I understand in 2
Thank
weeks
you.
you'll be talking to Brandon,
Hmm.
who's playing Josiah. So
Hmm.
people should watch that too. Now, I'm not done yet. Let's start talking a little bit to people out there, because we've gone through your story and what God has done for you. And we're probably sitting here talking to people that are saying, I got a problem like that, or I got a problem with a marriage, or I got a problem with my life, or a sickness, or whatever it is. But I don't know God like Pastor Dave does. I don't know God like you know it. And I think we should start there. Let's suppose that they learn, I want to be like Melissa. Well, how hard is it to accept Jesus Christ into your life? Tell us again how you did it, what books you had to read, how much of the Bible you had to know. Tell me all those things so they can follow your lead.
My family had just started going to church when I was about 8, and when I was 9, I just felt the love of God, and like He just wanted me. And I bowed down in my trailer, and I just asked Jesus to come and live in my heart, and He came right in and gave me
Yep.
joy.
And I know you've grown.
Hmm.
God wants you to grow. And
Yes.
you've gone a long way. I mean, at 9 years old, you probably wouldn't be able to come on a program like this and talk. Is that correct?
No. No.
But you said before when you started, you were a little nervous. Are you nervous now?
No, not really.
Do you feel God's presence in everything you're saying?
Yeah, I do. I
Is
prayed
he,
that just His words would come out.
is he answered your prayer? Are your words coming out?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see, folks, how easy it is to become a Christian, how easy it is to do what God wants you to do. We're not done yet. I want to take it to the next step. Melissa's here today, years after, decades after she accepted Jesus Christ. She's gone through some same problems you have, but her faith has not wavered. Well, let's talk about the person that's being abused right now. I want to know what is the major thing you had to do with all that abuse you had, all the penalties you've had? What'd you have to do?
Um, I had to let God love me, and I had to, in the end, forgive. It's a slow process, but it poisons us when we are living in unforgiveness.
That's hard to do, folks, but you're never going to get anywhere. If you carry that burden on you, that's like weighing you down. The other
Hmm.
person doesn't probably even think of you anymore,
No,
but you do. Now, forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. Is that
no,
correct?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Have you made friends with all your abusers?
No, no, no.
You suggest
That's
that people out there do the same, do that at
no,
all?
no. Protect your peace, protect your life, protect your body.
You don't forget it.
No, you don't
Forgive.
forget.
There's a scripture in Proverbs that says, "Don't be like a dog and return to your vomit."
Hmm.
It's good advice, isn't it, Melissa?
It is.
Now we've come a long way. We took a journey. We talked about not only problems she had, and they're probably more severe than most of you out there. We talked about how that she had a disease that was certainly going to lead to death. We talked about how God changed her life, and you're looking at the new life.
Absolutely. I couldn't function before God healed me. And I can do anything that I want to do now. I can do things that other people my age can't do. God has restored everything to me. And I'm so thankful to Him.
And I'm not going to criticize your husband for leaving. You're
No.
married a long time, and he had a rough time,
Mm-hmm.
and he left.
Mm-hmm.
But and he went to the pits with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Did God ever leave you?
No, never for a moment. Sometimes I felt like He had, but He hadn't.
You give your children to your husband, and don't you take them at all? Just go live in that housing project. Did he ever say that to you?
He said that it was too stressful having me with Huntington's and my daughter with autism living in the home. And so we had to move out, me and my youngest daughter.
But God never told you that, did he?
No, no.
Well, this is a good place to end, I think, right now.
Yeah.
We've uh, we've covered everything. The rest of it, the rest of the discussion, is up to you and whoever you show this broadcast to. So we're simply going to wave and hey, abruptly leave you.
Okay.
So let's wave, Melissa.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody. We hope you
Bye.
enjoyed our show and that you
Yes.
tune in next week. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.